The human soldier stood at the center of the ceremonial hall, as banners of victory were lowered in his honor. He had fought harder than anyone expected, earning a place among the honored guests of the royal court of the Arani. His name was Caleb, a simple infantry fighter from a distant human colony, but among the Arani, he had become known as the Iron Spirit. They admired strength, resilience, and the ability to rise again after defeats. Caleb had all of these traits, and more. They invited him to the ritual of reward, a custom in which a victorious hero could choose a prize offered by the royal house. To human ears, the idea sounded strange, but to the Arani, it was an ancient tradition filled with meaning. The offerings were symbolic, not forced, and no one was ever taken against their will. The Arani valued personal honor above all. The king stood tall in his ornate armor, his scales glowing under the violet torches. Beside him stood his 3 daughters. The crowd whispered eagerly, for these daughters were often the centerpiece of such rituals. The oldest, Ryla, was renowned for her beauty, and for her strategic mind, the middle one, Sira, was a diplomat admired for her calm voice and talent with cosmic treaties. But the youngest stood slightly behind them, silent, her eyes lowered. Her name was Tira. She was considered the least admired among the princesses. She was quiet, unbeautiful by the standards of her own kind, and uninterested in the lavish attention that followed her sister's. Caleb noticed how the crowd looked past her. He noticed how even the announcer barely included her name. He noticed the slight flinch she made as her sisters stepped forward with confident grace. The ceremony began. Each princess offered a token to symbolize her willingness to accompany the champion on future journeys or missions. Ryla offered a blade carved from star iron. Sira offered a ring forged from diplomatic alloys that marked unity. Tira offered a small handmade pendant with simple patterns, drawn by her own hand. The hall expected Caleb to choose one of the first 2. They waited proudly, certain that a human who had earned such honor would choose one of the admired daughters to stand beside him in future trials. A murmur ran through the crowd as Caleb stepped forward. He studied each token. He felt the eyes of the audience. He heard the breath of the king. Finally, he reached out and placed his hand on Tira's pendant. The hall fell silent. No one expected this. Even Tira stared at him in confusion. He bowed respectfully to her. As tradition required, the king cleared his throat, but remained composed. His voice echoed through the hall. Human champion, you choose the youngest princess as your companion on your future journeys. Caleb answered calmly, Yes, I choose Tira. Some spectators whispered their confusion. Some shook their heads. Others simply stared. Tira stepped forward, her hands trembling. She offered him the pendant, and Caleb accepted it with surprising gentleness. After the ceremony, Tira walked beside him in the corridor, struggling to understand him. You could have chosen Ryla or Sira, she said. They are admired by our people. They are admirable, Caleb admitted. But your token was the only one made by your own hands. Tira blinked. You noticed that? He nodded. You put effort into something personal that means more than a weapon or a symbol of diplomacy. I didn't come to your world for prestige. I came because I believed in working with others as equals. Your gift felt honest. Tira fell silent, processing his words. For the first time she felt seen. The following days were filled with preparations for Caleb's return to his unit. Tira was to accompany him as a diplomatic partner, an advisor, and a representative of the Arani. This decision caused ripples in the court. Many questioned why the human had chosen someone considered plain and quiet. Some worried it would reflect poorly on the royal house. Others simply could not understand it. Trilla confronted him one afternoon. You shocked the entire hall, she said. He smiled. So I heard. You could have chosen someone with influence. You could have chosen someone who could strengthen your alliances. He shrugged slightly. I chose someone who offered something sincere. Ryla studied him for a moment, then walked away with a thoughtful expression. Sarah, approached him later. Tira has always been different, she said. She is gentle, analytical, and never seeks attention. She is also unsure of her worth. Take care that your choice does not become a burden for her. Caleb nodded. I will look after her as a partner, and as a friend. Nothing more is demanded by your customs. Meanwhile, Tira struggled with her insecurities. She wondered why someone as capable as Caleb would pick her. She wondered if she could serve well beside him. She wondered if she would embarrass him on the morning of their departure. Caleb found her sitting alone near the starboard, overlooking the horizon. Are you ready? He asked gently. She hesitated. I do not know if I can be what you expect. I don't expect anything beyond honesty and effort, he said. I chose you because you offered. Something real. That is all I need. Tira breathed slowly, grounding herself. And I will do my best. They boarded the human vessel together. The crew was surprised to see her, but welcomed her politely. Caleb introduced her to everyone and made sure she was included in all briefings. He encouraged her to voice her thoughts. She learned quickly and soon proved that her quiet nature hid a sharp, analytical mind. During their missions, she noticed things others overlooked. She detected unusual movement patterns in enemy formations. She predicted environmental shifts during planetary surveys. She calmly negotiated small disagreements among crew members. Her presence became invaluable. One mission took them to the edge of disputed territory, where a roaming fleet threatened trade routes. Caleb led a small landing team to investigate an abandoned outpost. Tira insisted on going with them. Her knowledge of Orani scanning techniques revealed hidden traps that would have injured the team. Caleb's respect for her grew even more later they encountered a hostile raiding group. Caleb fought with his usual determination. Tira, though untrained in battle, used communication channels to confuse the raiders and create openings for the human soldiers. Their combined efforts saved the team and secured the region-wide spread of their cooperative strength. Some began calling Tira the silent mind beside the iron spirit. For the first time in her life, she received admiration. It felt strange, but not unpleasant still. She wondered why Caleb had really chosen her. One night during quiet hours, she gathered the courage to ask, You could have chosen someone stronger, someone admired, someone who could raise your status. Caleb shook his head. I didn't need status. I needed someone true. You showed sincerity when everyone else offered symbols of power. Power fades. Sincerity lasts. Tira looked at him with new understanding. No one has ever spoken of me that way. He smiled softly. Then they never looked closely enough. Their partnership grew, where Caleb brought courage and instinct. Tira brought calmness and insight. Together they became an unlikely but effective team. Through months of missions they developed a deep trust. The crew admired their synergy. The Orani embassy praised their collaborations. Even the royal house began to reconsider their opinion of the youngest princess. One day, a coded message arrived from the Orani king. Tira read it carefully, then turned to Caleb. My father requests our presence for a council meeting. He wishes to speak of the recent victories and the role we played. Caleb agreed, and they traveled back to the Orani capital. The reception this time was entirely different. Instead of doubtful whispers, there was applause. Instead of confusion, there was respect. The king greeted them with regal calm. I see that my daughter has grown into her role, he said, and the human soldier who chose her has proven wise. Caleb bowed respectfully. Tira has been essential to every mission. Her insight saved many lives. The king looked at Tira with new pride. You were always different. Now your difference has become your strength. Ryla approached Tira and embraced her. I was blind to your worth. You have surpassed expectations. Tira smiled warmly. You found your path. In your own way, I am proud. Tira accepted their words with quiet grace, but she looked toward Caleb. She knew his belief in her had sparked this transformation. After the formal meeting, the king invited Caleb to a private discussion Caleb accepted. Inside the chamber, the king stood beside a glowing mural depicting the history of their people. "You changed my daughter's future," the king said, "not through power or charm, but through respect. It is rare among allies, and even rarer among warriors. For that I honor you." Caleb nodded politely. "She did the rest herself. I only gave her a chance to show it." When they stepped out, they found Tira waiting. The halls were quieter now. Only the soft hum of the palace could be heard. Tira approached Caleb slowly. "Everyone sees me differently now," she said. "It feels like the world changed. But I know it began with your choice. I want to understand why you believed in me when I did not believe in myself." Caleb considered his answer. "You didn't seek attention. You didn't try to impress anyone. You simply offered something genuine. Most of the time, the least admired person is someone no one bothered to look at. I looked, and I saw someone strong in a quiet way." Tira's eyes softened. "I am grateful, not because of status or honor, but because you treated me fairly when others did not. You gave me space to be myself. You respected me before anyone else did." Caleb smiled gently. "You earned every bit of respect you gained. I only acknowledged what was already there. Their partnership was not born from romance or dramatic declarations. It was built on trust, sincerity, and mutual respect.